All right, today we're going to a place most farmers probably never expected to go, orbit. Seriously, we're going to dive into how AI and satellites are teaming up to tackle some of the biggest problems in agriculture, and they're doing it from way, way up there.
So, farming today has this massive triple challenge, right? You've got to be productive enough to feed everyone, you've got to be profitable enough to stay in business, and you have to do all of that while protecting the planet. It's this incredible high-stakes balancing act, and if you get it wrong, the consequences are, well, they're huge.
And get ready for this number, because it's a bit of a shocker. 79%. Just let that sink in. That is the amount of nitrogen fertilizer that just gets wasted. It washes away into rivers, pollutes the air. And this isn't just some abstract environmental problem. It's a huge financial hit for the farmers themselves, the people growing our food.
Okay, so to fix a problem this big, we've got to get back to basics. We need to understand our soil, like really understand it. But that's where things get tricky. This is what we're calling the soil dilemma.
For decades, the process has been pretty much the same. A farmer goes out, digs up a few handfuls of dirt, bags it up, sends it off to a lab, and then they wait. It's super slow, it's expensive, and what you get back is just a tiny snapshot, right? It's one piece of a giant puzzle. And with over 60% of soils in the EU considered unhealthy and new policies coming in, it's just crystal clear that the old way is just not going to cut it anymore.
So, if digging down into the dirt isn't giving us the full picture, what if we tried looking up, like way up? What if the key to understanding the ground beneath our feet is actually in space? Yeah, now this is where it starts to get really cool.
The whole idea is called digital soil mapping, and believe me, it is a total game changer. I mean, just picture this, creating a super detailed map of all the nutrients in your soil without ever having to dig a single hole. By pulling in all this data from satellites, from climate models, from the terrain, we can start to predict what's happening in the soil with, honestly, mind-blowing accuracy.
So what exactly are we looking for from hundreds of miles up? Well, it boils down to 5 crucial things. First, soil organic carbon. Think of it as the life force of the soil. Then you have the big 3 nutrients every plant needs: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, or N, P, and K. And finally, soil pH, which is super important because it controls whether plants can even access those nutrients. You get those 5 things in balance, and you're well on your way to a healthy, productive farm.
Okay, but what's the most important piece of this whole puzzle? Well, as you can see here, it's that view from above. Satellite data makes up a whopping 60% of the input. It is the absolute powerhouse behind this whole AI model. It's that eye in the sky that really makes all of this possible.
But how in the world does an AI actually see what's in the soil from all the way up in space? Well, the best way to think about it is like a high-tech detective story. The AI is our lead investigator, and its job is to piece together all these tiny clues from orbit.
And the real genius here is that this system is a hybrid. It's not just looking at one thing. It's actually combining 2 completely different types of evidence to get the complete picture of what's going on down on the ground.
So here are the 2 sides of our AI detective strategy. On one hand, it's reading the clues indirectly. It's looking at things like how healthy the plants are, what the climate is doing, the shape of the land. All of these are hints. But then, and this is the incredible part, it also looks directly at the source. It analyzes the specific signature of light that's reflecting off the bare soil itself. It's literally like reading the soil's unique fingerprint, right from space.
And that's the real breakthrough here. This new hybrid model is the first to successfully pull off both of these methods, the direct and the indirect, at a massive scale. It's a genuinely huge leap forward for how we understand the health of our planet's soil.
So let's peek under the hood for a sec. The tech here is seriously smart. We're talking about physics-informed AI, which means it actually understands the science of how light interacts with a plant's canopy. And it's built on these massive foundation models. Think the same kind of large-scale deep learning that powers things like ChatGPT. All this horsepower lets it find these super complex, hidden patterns in the data over time. Things a human analyst would just never, ever spot.
Okay, so this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But the big question is, does it actually work in the real world? To figure that out, the researchers didn't pull any punches. They designed a test that was as tough and as fair as they could make it.
They called their method spatial blocking, but a better way to think about it is a surprise road trip. Imagine you train the AI on tons of soil data from, say, France and Germany. Then, for its final exam, you drop it into a totally new region it's never seen before, like Spain.
This makes sure the model isn't just memorizing answers. It proves that it's actually learned how to analyze soil.
And the results? Honestly, a huge success. For soil organic carbon and nitrogen, two of the absolute most critical things for healthy crops, the AI nailed it. The accuracy was high enough that a farmer could confidently use these maps to make real-world decisions that save them money and improve their yields. That's a big deal. Now, phosphorus and potassium, they were a bit trickier. They're just harder to see from space. The model's accuracy was more moderate for these two, but here's the thing. The results are still incredibly valuable. It's a huge improvement over having no data at all, and it really just points to the massive potential this technology has as it gets even better.
Okay, and we have to be honest about the limitations, right? No technology is perfect. A satellite, by its very nature, is looking at the surface, so it makes total sense that the model is at its absolute best in the top 30 centimeters of soil. But hey, that's also the most agronomically important layer. It's where all the action happens for crops.
And you can see that really clearly here. The performance is super high in that top layer, that 0 to 30 centimeter zone. As you go deeper, the predictive power naturally drops off a bit. It's just a really transparent way of showing what the technology can do right now.
But here's something else that's incredibly smart about this system. It doesn't just guess. For every single prediction it makes, it also tells you how confident it is. It's not just a number, it's a number with a reliability score. This is huge for farmers because it means they get a map that not only shows them nutrient levels, but also shows them exactly which parts of the map they can trust the most for making big decisions.
So let's bring this all back down to earth. What does this all actually mean? How does this cool, high-tech science translate into real-world impact for farmers and for the rest of us?
Well, the process itself is beautifully simple, but incredibly powerful. Step 1, satellites collect the data from orbit. Step 2, the AI model crunches the numbers and predicts the soil nutrients. Step 3, farmers get these super precise nutrient maps for their fields. And Step 4, they use those maps to apply fertilizer only where it's actually needed. The final result? Less waste, better crop yields, and a much healthier planet. It really is a win-win-win.
And this is why this is such a game changer. It makes precision agriculture accessible at a massive scale for any farmer. It helps them reduce costs and cut down on pollution. It even provides the critical data needed for new things like carbon markets, where farmers can literally get paid for improving their soil health. And when you put all that together, it brings us right back to the beginning. It gives us a real, tangible way to solve that triple challenge, to farm productively, profitably, and sustainably.
You know, what this really shows is that sometimes the most revolutionary ideas come from just changing your perspective. If we can now read the health of our planet's soil from orbit, it makes you wonder, right? What's the next huge global challenge we can solve just by looking at it from a completely new angle? The possibilities, really, are as vast as the view from space.